Hi everybody, welcome back. Sorry, adjusting my chair, that's what all the noise is. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening or whatever time it is there. In my last video, I asked for your opinions. I only got one. Thank you, Debbie. One answer back, but I was going to put these flowers here or here at the bottom. However, I don't really feel like these flowers fit. So I went shopping in my basement, in my stash, and I remembered I had this lace somewhere down there, and I went downstairs this morning and found it. And I am going to attach this. I think this fits way better into the color scheme. So that's what I'm going with. I did sew by machine the lining. There are still pins in it because I haven't turned it right side out and done anything with it. Now, if you remember, I told you that, whoa, pins flying at me. Thank you very much. I told you that I was not going to embellish any of the pockets. I mean, I put that lace there. Don't know why, because it's inside. But anyway, I really like the way they came out. In fact, these pins can come back out. Oh, these pins are going to go into the chicken. And I'm going to make another one of these chickens, only smaller. Thank you, Robin, for helping me with that. When I get around to it. I just, I can only fit so much into one day. I think it's my brain power that limits me. It's hard to explain, but anyway, that's how I feel. And by the time I do a video, if it needs editing or whatever, and then I upload it, and breakfast, lunch, dinner, and laundry, and grocery shopping, or whatever else needs to be done that day, it just seems like my brain gets overwhelmed. Let's see, any more? No. So I really like the way the lining came out. I like my pockets. I have a pocket there, and then I skipped a panel, and then I have a pocket here and a pocket here. Lots of pockets. And then I have two pockets here. So I think that, and I even remembered to sew the bottom of the pocket down onto the panel before I sewed it, and I sewed the hems. I mean, the only thing I really messed up was two things. One panel I sewed really wonky, like it was really uneven, and that the seam was way too big. So I had to cut that out and do it again. This one I think would be really nice to hold scissors, but I don't know if I want scissors on the inside or the outside. Now, I was thinking about pockets on the outside. This would be really great for thread bobbins or whatever. So the other thing I messed up was I didn't leave a seam open. I sewed all the seams like a good girl, but you're supposed to leave a seam open for turning. I don't know that I'm going to be able to turn this bag through that hole. It's going to be a stretch. It's going to be like a 50-pound baby coming through a normal size, opening. So I don't know about that. This is going to be a little tall. I think it's going to give me a problem. I hope not. It's just, I should have pulled it down so that this edge ended where the curve starts. Fingers crossed, when I sew this all together, the inside to the outside, I think it's going to be okay. But I think it turned out okay. I really like those. In fact, I almost like these pockets on the inside better than the outside pockets, some of them. However, I do want to make a pocket for pens also. And I don't know, I mean, pens could fit in here, but I didn't like make columns for the pens to sit in. That's not deep enough. That would be the only other deepest pocket. I also want to get, I have a tape measure that's going to go in one of these, but I also want to get like a 6-inch ruler, just a simple 6-inch, probably plastic ruler. And that would go in one of these as well. So anyway, pens. I don't know what one I'm going to put pens in. I could put pens in here, I think. I mean, they would stick out quite a bit. But if I sew seams down here, that's a big fat pen too. Like, here's a pencil. I mean, that would be okay. I think it'd be enough to hold them in, I think. If not, I could do it on this one. But I'd hate to sew seams down here and ruin this applique. So I don't know. Now I'm wondering if I should make this pocket bigger. Like up here, and sew seams down it for pens. I'll have to think about that because, yeah. So I'm putting pockets on 3 of the outside ones. And the reason I'm doing that is I thought I would alternate, like where there's no pocket on the inside, I would have pockets on the outside. But I don't know. I mean, I could always add more pockets, right? Before I put it together. Anywho's, that's where my brain is at today. Yeah, so I am going to, I think, I've debated. I had to cut part of the top of this pocket off because I sewed it with a buttonhole stitch really tight across the top of it and hated it. So now I'm debating, do I fold this down and stitch this on all at once? I think that's what I'm going to do, just to make this top, make sure it doesn't fray too much. Yeah. The sun was out this morning. It's trying to be out right now. However, we are supposed to get rain this afternoon. We had a severe thunderstorm warning, take cover, don't be outside kind of warning yesterday afternoon. Never hit us. It dissipated before it even got to us. So like 5 minutes after the warning, you know, the TV buzzing and sending us all this, you know, take cover, be aware, be afraid, be very afraid. After all that, it never happened. I don't know if I'm going to like that or not, sewing it this way. We shall see. And I was in here watching Corrine, and Tony says to me, Martha, there's a big bird in the backyard. I think it's a hawk. So instead of me grabbing my phone to take a picture of it, dummy, I run out to the sunroom, and when I find it, like it was under a tree, in the shade, on the dirt, very camouflaged. So when I finally figured out where it was, I opened the sliding door and the screen, sliding screen, and it didn't take off right away. I wanted to see if it was eating something. I'm not sure it was a hawk. I'm thinking it looked very much like a juvenile American eagle. I've seen them in videos. I've seen them in photographs. And oh my gosh, I can't pull this through. And I think I've seen one or, oh, come on. I'm stuck. What are you hung up on? Oh my gosh. Oh, luckily it came out the other side again. One or two in person. but, you know, I'm never 100% sure I'm identifying the birds correctly. However, the coloring of this bird was dark, and it really looked like a juvenile. Juvenile American eagles look almost black and gray as opposed to brown and white. So yeah, I'm thinking it was a juvenile American eagle. So of course I didn't get a picture because I was busy chasing it away because the squirrels were all taking off. The birds were taking off. They were all scared, as they well should be. So yeah, I think that's what it was. I love the big birds. I hate that they eat the little animals. Like we have 2 rabbits. These are wild animals now. We have 2 rabbits here. We have chipmunks. We have moles or voles. And we have all kinds of birds, like all kinds of birds, really interesting birds. And I know the big birds have to eat. Let them go eat the animals in another yard, not the animals in our yard. I know that sounds bad. And we have squirrels. Sometimes Tony says, let them have the squirrels. I'm like, not our squirrels. They can go eat someone else's squirrels. I just don't want the massacre to happen in our yard. This is really hard. Some of this lace, I'm putting it through the wrong bits of it, where the knots are, I think. So I'm struggling a little here. So I have a doctor's appointment this afternoon. It's simply a blood pressure check. They weren't going to be able to get me in until August 3rd. I'm like, you know, I went to the ER and my blood pressure was 190/76. I said, I really, the ER doc said I really need to get into my primary care doctor sooner. Now, they have PAs there. They used to call them physician assistants. But the physician assistants didn't like the name assistants. So now they're calling them, and this hasn't like spread throughout the medical community yet. So people don't know this yet, and they're probably not referring to them as this yet. But they want to be called physician associates now. And the reason I know this is because my husband used to work for the association, AAPA, American Association of Physicians Assistants. And his boss was able to get the name changed and keep the initials or acronym or whatever you want to call it. Keep it AAPA, but satisfy the physician's associates from being called physician's assistants. Now, the office we go to has physician's assistants, and I think they have, I don't know if they have nurse assistants, I think they're called. And the physician's assistants and the nurse assistants don't really like each other, from what I understand or what I've been told. So I could get in to see somebody else, someone that doesn't know me, etc., etc. But I really like my primary care physician. I have my likes and dislikes. They're very bad about doing full blood panels to see if anything's going on with you, especially as you get older. She said, we just don't do that anymore. And I'm like, what? And this was several years ago before I even got on Medicare. I'm like, seriously? Like, you don't do a full blood panel? Nope, we just check your cholesterol. I'm like, okay. So there are some things they do. She's never, ever done like a full physical exam on me. She checks my heart, my lungs, my arteries, and my neck because I have high cholesterol and despite my vegan diet, plant-based diet, and despite me being on medication, I still have high cholesterol, and I have had a massive heart attack, and and so yeah, she checks that. If I complain about my ears hurting or I think I have a sinus infection, she will help me with that. However, I kind of went that away, but that's okay. That's all right. It's all right. So I did a little stitching on here. I did some invisible stitching up the center, and I did 2 rows there of just thread, size 5 thread. So I think I will leave that at that. Now, would these fit in there? They would. So the question is, do I sew little seams down here? That's really going to pull that pocket in, and I don't think I planned for that, so I don't think that's going to work. If I want to stick pens in, they're just going to have to fit in one of the pockets, I think. I can fit a lot of things in because I have a lot of pockets going on here, so I think this is going to be okay. I also had wanted to sew the outside panels together. I think I explained this in yesterday's video, the previous video, like this. And I was going to, like, I don't know, whip stitch but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to sew them together by machine. It's just easier and more secure, and it'll stay. If it was a smaller bag, I might do it by hand. If it didn't have if I hadn't curved the top edges, that was the other thing. So I think I still have not figured out the drawstring part to this. I don't know if I'm going to have to put little fabric tubes across here and pull them that way or whatever. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out when I get to it. I know that's something I should figure out ahead of time, but now I do have to put, that one doesn't want to go in. I do have to put a lot of pins in here because when I sew these things, they shift a lot. Like the lining was shifting all over the place. This fabric is polyester, so that could be one reason. And then this will be the bottom. That'll be the inside, the outside of the bottom. Now I have not decided to do anything with that yet. I do have to do something with that too. Yeah, I do have to do something with that too. Okay, what's next? This one's next. Need to put that with that, so I remember to take those downstairs together. Now, I did fold this top over. That will have to be stitched. Whether I do it by machine or not, I don't know. And then I'm going to do some embroidery in here. Now, I went into my bucket. I forgot to look in this bucket here for threads that would match. I don't know why I forgot to do that. Oh, there's those scissors. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot to do that. So I did pull out this beautiful burgundy, which really, it does match with this very nicely. So I have to do something with the background. I might straight stitch it with this. I think I'm going to do some flowers here. Some knots. I'm going to knot. Knot what? I'm going to knot. Because you know me and my knots. Love my knots. However, this is 2 strands. I think I'm going to do 2 strands because in this very tiny circle right here, in between this one and this one, in this space, I'm going to put some French knots. So there's that. So my appointment is not until 3:15. I was hoping to get my cholesterol checked while I was there, but they told me this was only a blood pressure check, and when I get my cholesterol done, I have to fast. I cannot not eat until 3:15. I can't go that long. I haven't eaten yet this morning, and my stomach's making all kinds of, come on, Martha, all kinds of noise. So, yeah. And it's 10:30. So, and it takes about almost 45 minutes to get to the doctor's office. And in the afternoon, and if it's raining then, it might take a little longer. Our doctors are not close by. My chair is creaking, making noises. There is really not much that's that close by to us. There's a grocery store across the street, a small, low quality grocery store, and a CVS and a few other things in that shopping center, but nothing we frequent for sure. This is such nice linen to stitch through. I love the weave of it. I love the texture of it. It's very stiff. I don't know if it was treated or whatever. So the lovely Christina was kind and sent me an initial, a monogram initial, M. And I think I'm going to, the next thing I'll be starting, which I need to start, is the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 4, The Treasure Hunt. And I have decided I am not going to stick with one colorway. I have decided that I want to be able to pull out whatever colors I want to play with. If I want something to be blue and yellow, it'll be blue and yellow. If I want it to be green and orange, it's going to be green and orange. I do not want to stick with one colorway. I love color, and I love a monochromatic look, but I love color more. So I am going to put all of the blue stuff in a bin. Well, it's already in a bin, but it's in the bin that I wanted to use for keeping the treasures. And I think in my brain, my knocked around brain, I have decided I am going to pull out, I know I have some fabric pieces that are fairly large. I'm going to pull those out, decide which one I want to use as a background. But at this point in time, I think, and this is how I'm sort of feeling about this now, is I'm going to do each prompt on a separate piece of fabric. And then attach, and I've read that several other people are thinking the same thing. Then attach those separate pieces of fabric to the background fabric, whether it be a linen cloth or, something something larger scale. And I really like this size here. I don't even know what size this is. I would say this is probably 5 by 5 without the lace, maybe. Looking for my smaller ruler. Oh, I need like a 6-inch ruler like this. This is about 4.5, or it is 11.5 centimeters without the lace. And I really like that size. It's not quite as tall. It was as tall before I folded the top edge over. So I really actually cut this out as a square and didn't even plan it that way. But I'm thinking I'm going to do that and then attach all of my squares to my background, I think, because Sarah says it's going to be very loose interpretations of the, I don't know whether I should put another one right there and crowd them or not. I feel like there's a space there, but there's other spaces. It's a very, everything's going to be very loosely interpreted, or the prompts are going to be very loosely given, not as specific. This is what I gathered from what her video said. Not as specific as the previous projects. So, that being said, I'm going to, which I like because I feel like if I can make this, like if it's a very loosely interpreted, if being loosely, what am I trying to say? If loosely interpreting the prompts allows a lot of freedom in what you do, then why would I not take advantage of that in every respect? So I think, let's see, I like the colonial knots too. Not that I see a big difference between the colonial and the French. Oh, that's very pretty. However, I didn't center it very well over that knob. Okay. Do a better job, Martha. I'm trying to practice some stitches that I don't always use. So that was probably a dumb way to do this, but I need some more size 5 threads. I went for really thin, fine threads because for some things that's what I really like. But on the other hand, these thicker threads are faster, for one thing, and do a better job of showing up. They don't get lost as easily. So you get less thread in a pack that way, but I, you know, now, do I want to go with a different color on each one? I don't know. I think I'll stick with the same color. I'm gonna have to go buy me some more of this. Of course, I used up a whole bunch on the part I cut off. That's okay. So yes, that is how I am going to approach the treasure hunt. Is I'm going to get something that I want to use as my base, not base fabric for the large panel or whatever I make it into. It may not be a large panel. It may be small panels. It may be something that I can fit in my treasure box. it may be something I end up hanging on my wall. I don't know yet, but I am thinking that if you can hear my stomach, I really apologize. Like I said, I did not eat my breakfast. What was I saying? My stomach distracted me. If I do everything in small squares, now I don't know if that's going to work for everything. I mean, a lot of people, even Sarah and I think Rachel as well, did their monograms on a separate piece. And I'm almost wondering if that's where we're going, because Sarah showed, I mentioned this in the previous video as well. Now, I don't know that I want to carry this thread across this. This is supposed to be a pocket, so I'm probably going to have to line the back of it now that I'm putting all these stitches on it. Right. Didn't think about that. All right, I'm just going to carry it across. I don't know if you'll be able to see it underneath this fabric or not. Not really. And I'm going to have to line this anyway, so that's okay. All right. Sarah showed in her video like a wall hanging that she has pieces on it from her sister, Rachel, and her mother, and some other things. I wasn't listening that close, I must admit, to that part. However, because I got distracted, I was looking for monograms, which I could not find these stupid monograms that everybody else was doing with this beautiful embellishment. I could find lots of other ones, but I didn't like the embellishments on them. So, yeah. So anyhow, I was distracted, but I did hear her say there were panels on this wall hanging, and they were like offset squares or, shapes. I think they were squares or thereabouts from, and she said they were her treasures. So I'm kind of thinking that's where we're going, is they're basing it off of that panel that she has already. So I am just going to go with that thought process and work on separate pieces. I think is, like I said, as long as that works for the prompts, and I'm going to think about that. So, and I want it to be not just one color scheme. I want it to be whatever colors I want to make it. Like I said, if my monogram, the monogram that I think I'm going with, which is what Christine sent me, is this here. I haven't decided on a size. I think it's going to be this one, but I printed out this size and this size are the same. That one's a little smaller than that one. That one's a little smaller than that one. Not a lot, but a little. If I go with this, yeah, that would be too big for that size square. I'd probably have to go at least 5 inches on the square. Let's see. That's 3.5, and that's a little over 4. That's 4.25. I did not measure this right. That's yeah, a little over 3.5. So I could fit that onto a 5-inch square. I could also pull this back up and make it broader and not so tall. So I'm going to be playing with that and figuring that out. Oops, shook everything. Hit my knee on the table leg. No more hitting yourself, Martha. You're in bad enough shape as it is. Speaking of which, I did really well yesterday morning. I made the video and ate breakfast and did all this stuff. I wasn't nauseous like I was the day before, but in the afternoon I got a headache that just wouldn't go away, and I woke up with it as well. However, right at the moment, it's okay. So, you know, when you have a slight concussion, that's all stuff that can happen. Oh, I really like that. I like the colors. Very happy with that. Okay. It's an airplane going over. We live in an area, we don't get a lot of airplanes, we don't get jets, we don't get helicopters a lot. But when they happen, it's really noticeable because it doesn't happen all the time. All right, now I like the light in the middle. I like the darker outside. I think the other thing I'm going to do is put some here. And I think I'm going to go with, this is a little darker than that, so I'm going to go with the darker one. I have some that's 2 strands, 3 strands. Let me check. 3 strands. Just going to stick with that. Just wanted a pop of color on here. Let's see if I can do this here. Do I want to just do like petals? Or am I going to stick with knots? Well, you know the answer to that, right? Taking bets. Is she going to stick with knots? Of course she's going to stick with knots. I might put... I might put 3 on each one, though. They look like little berries. Oops. Oops. Can you count, Martha? Can you count? All right. And they're still working on our golf course. So there's bulldozers out there constantly beeping because they're always backing up. All kinds of things going on. Okay. So yeah, not very quiet. Usually it's very quiet around here. For the most part. Except for the guy with the really loud muffler on his car. The motorcycles that you don't hear in the winter. And school buses that go rumbling by. They're loud as heck. But we don't hear them in the summer. I think there's one bus for summer school. And then there's a few loud pickup trucks around here too. I really like this. I like where this is going. Of course, now I have to sew an interior on this so that stuff that I take in and out doesn't get hung up. Didn't think about that before I started stitching, but it's okay. I'm all right with that. I can do that. I'll just probably hand stitch something on it. Not. Try again. Okay, that's better. I know, this is riveting TV, isn't it? I hope you've pulled up a drink and your own stitching and you're just kind of hanging out. What happened to that? Boy, I really... Didn't do a good job on that knot. Goodness gracious, Martha. I'll try and camouflage it with the other ones. One more. We'll put it up here at the top. There we go. Oh. Okay. And one more, and I'm going to let you all go for the day. I will be working on putting the back on this. What else do I have to do? I think that's it. That'll come off when I sew these together, and then these are done. So I think that's going to be it. Once I put a backing on this and I machine sew it all, that's when I will be coming back and probably showing you what I did. I don't know that these are going to show, because if I do, that's the top. Let's see. I wonder if I should make, no, because that would make things, taking things in and out, be really hard. This is going to be so tricky trying to get this lace to be on the inside. That's going to take a lot of work. I think this one's going to get hung up in the, I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at. I think if I do this one here, it's going to get sucked into the seam anyway, so I'm not even going to do that one. I am going to pin this down. I do have to stitch across that, but I'll do that with the machine, I think. It'll be much neater. Trust me. Yeah. Oops. Put you there. And we'll put you down here. Actually, what I'm going to have to do is pin these up. And when I sew into the, when I attach to the bottom, I have to catch this fabric here along the bottom. I wonder if I should sew that first. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to be sewing this down by machine here. This is going to have to catch in the side. I don't have any choice with that. But I think this is going to catch, I'm going to sew this down by machine. If I don't catch it in the bottom, because this bottom is really uneven as it is, I should catch it in there. Maybe I should move this up. You know, waffling. I'm sorry I waffle. I think I'm going to sew this down by hand. Not by hand, by machine. But I'm going to sew it up from the bottom. That's what I'm going to do. And if I can, did I stitch the back of this at all? No, I haven't done anything with this piece here. So I'm going to have to put some stitches in here. I am going to stitch this up from the top. I'll sew that down. And then when I sew the hems, I mean the seams for the bottom attaching it, I'll make sure this is up and this is in. And I'm hoping that when I do the side, when it's done, this will either stick straight up like that or out like that and overhang the other side. Fingers crossed. Okay, everybody, that's me waffling for the day. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if you could see what I was saying. I forgot I had zoomed in. I will stitch this down, put this up when I do the bottom seam and attach it to the bottom here. When I attach these two pieces like that, and it comes out like that, this pocket will sit up a little higher. off of the base, because I don't know that I could catch this in the seam the right way. The side seams, I'm just going to have to cross my fingers and hope I get it right. Okay, wish me luck. I will talk to you all soon. I'll be back. I don't know when. And you all have a beautiful crafty day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.